Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to break down a post by Edward Art Supply Hand, someone who is really excellent at breaking down the philosophy of Neville Goddard's work. And this post, I can honestly say, freed me. It freed me more specifically from myself. It is always our beliefs that keep us in bondage. And this post freed me from constantly believing there were things I needed to change, things I needed to give up. There were aspects of myself which would be unloved or not good enough to something or a God outside of myself. This post freed me. In the description box down below, I will link to this post on Reddit and Edward Art Supply Hand's YouTube channel. That being said, let's get into it. Edward starts by saying, I wanted rules to follow so I can feel good about myself. I remember being a Christian and I tried my best to follow the rules. No alcohol, no sex, no smoking weed. Just reading the Bible and doing what I could for the church. Deep down, I wanted to please God. All these rules are stupid to me now. That's all I can feel now after doing what I want within. I just feel it's all stupid. But at the same time, I feel so normal for thinking it's stupid. Even though at one point, I thought following those types of rules was the way to live. If you really see your mind as the reality and you fulfill your desires within, you will see how stupid it all is. For example, I wanted my guilt removed from me. I wanted to stop feeling guilty because from this feeling, I would create all sorts of punishments for myself. These punishments never failed to manifest in my world because it is just reflecting self. So when I started to feel that I could do and feel what I want in my own mind, I simply realized I do not want to feel guilty. I do not want it, and that is enough for me to stop it and give myself what I want instead. That is so powerful. We get even addicted to the cortisol from our own stress, from our own guilt, from our own shame that we've been living out through habits since our own childhood. You can decide within yourself, because it's all self, that you don't want to feel it anymore. And you can completely give that up in favor of something better. What do you want to feel? Give it to yourself now in imagination. Edward continues, I allowed myself the freedom to feel whatever I wanted. I stopped feeling scared in my own mind and felt that I could do anything there. I stopped following the rules. You must feel grateful. You must make sure you fall asleep perfectly in the feeling. Make sure you think these thoughts instead of those bad ones. Let me tell you, the greatest self-concepts, the greatest feelings, the greatest thoughts are the ones you want to have. This is your personal journey. What do you want? That's what this is all about, right? You're here learning law of assumption, manifestation to get what you want. So why not analyze within yourself? What do you truly want? Do you want to feel guilt? Shame, sorrow, sadness? If not, simply drop it. Edward says, let's get into my favorite story. Neville begins. Let me tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing today. It was back in 1933 in the city of New York, and my old friend Abdullah, with whom I studied Hebrew for 5 years, was really the beginning of the eating of all my superstitions. When I went to him, I was filled with superstitions. I could not eat meat. I could not eat fish. I could not eat chicken. I could not eat any of these things that were living in the world. I did not drink, I did not smoke, and I was making a tremendous effort to live a celibate life. Edward explains, Neville had all these rules he must follow or else, so he's trying to be good. In some way, many people would actually applaud his efforts. Actually, most would. He is living a moral, honest, and dedicated life. To the world, he might be looked at as being very healthy for not smoking or drinking. So many people, and myself included, although not so much now, would become afraid at the thought of giving yourself the freedom of having no more rules. Or we point to the world and think, people can't just eat and drink what they want. You can't just sleep around all the time. Smoking's not good, and it should not be done. But again, there is no one to change but self. These are all judgments. This is all self eating of the tree of knowledge, judging things to be good and bad. It is simply, what do you want? Then you will understand that the things that are bringing you guilt and shame are only because of your belief about them. All things are neutral. So when you allow this perspective, you may even free yourself from the habit because you are no longer addicted to the guilt and shame it gave you. These self-punishments that you have inflicted through your own belief. Edward continues, this is not about other people. This is about you. There is no need to focus on what others should do here. Other people are not your concern. Your only concern should be, am I doing and feeling what I want in my mind right now? You will naturally find yourself surrounded by people who reflect you. Neville says, Abdullah said to me, I'm not going to tell you you are crazy, Neville, but you are, you know. All these things are stupid. But I could not believe they were stupid. Abdullah, Neville's teacher, begins to tell him how everything that he's doing, all these rules that he's set up in his own mind so that he could feel good about not doing them, were just beliefs. And so he's crazy following these self-made rules just so he can feel good about himself. How often have we set up these same rules within ourselves, saying, oh, I can only feel good about myself when I go for a run. I can only feel good about myself when I eat healthy. I can only feel good about myself when I deny myself what I want. Edward explains, Neville simply could not see how these things were stupid stupid. He followed all these rules to be good. So what is the underlying feeling here? He feels like he is wrong or bad. So he creates rules to tame this wrongness. And if he follows the rules, he then can call himself good. He is trying to find a way to be good. We all have been there. Neville calls this state John the Baptist. He said that all the religions in the world are in the state of John the Baptist. This mindset of rules. This is where I was when I read this post. Even though I had been using my imagination to create things in my world, I still did not realize that the entire world is merely a reflection of my beliefs, and I was still sustaining beliefs about things that I enjoyed to do, which prevented me from feeling truly free. I would set up these punishments for myself so that if I had one drink, I could go to bed feeling sorrowful, believing that I had failed my own self and broken my own rules. Doesn't that sound crazy? Edward continues, quoting Neville, "We must learn to know ourselves as infinite love, as good rather than evil. This is not something that we have to become. It is, rather, for us to recognize something that we already are." Edward says, "Do not just do this for infinite love, but apply this to everything." So what changed in Neville? He saw something. He changed. Abdullah called him crazy because he was. Although the world may think he is living a well-structured life, Ab saw him as crazy. Why? Because when you free yourself in your mind, all these rules are just plain stupid. Not drinking a beverage does not make you worthy of anything. It doesn't make sense. Do it if you want to, and if you don't want to, then don't. But to have these worries, or quibbles as Ab calls them, is to be crazy. Adding guilt to yourself is nothing more than being crazy. No one can punish you if you do not punish yourself. Have you found yourself in a cycle of punishing yourself for breaking rules that you made? If so, take a good look at what your beliefs are about what you do and what you want and what you don't want. Simply allow yourself the freedom. Trust yourself. You are infinite love. If you do what you want, you will not go crazy. In a matter of fact, you may let go of all that does not serve you, because you will no longer have the attached guilt and shame, and therefore the punishments which you have set up for yourself. Neville is quoted again. "Others will condemn us only as long as we continue in that for which we condemn ourselves. So, happy is the man that condemneth himself not in that which he alloweth. For to life nothing is condemned. All is expressed. All is neutral. Life does not care whether you call yourself rich or poor, strong or weak. It will eternally reward you with that which you claim as true of yourself. Measurements of right and wrong belong to man alone. To life there is nothing right or wrong." Neville continues, "I remembered what Abdullah had said to me. After you have proven this law, you will become normal, Neville. You will have come out of that graveyard. You will have come out of that dead past where you think you are being holy. For all you are really doing, you know. You are being so good, Neville. You are good for nothing." Good for nothing. Neville's teacher Abdullah has a history of being straight up, very direct, and he doesn't hesitate to tell Neville he's being good for nothing. Wow. Do you realize this in your own life? Are you setting up rules for yourself and being good for nothing? It is all within you. This world is made up of imagination. Are you limiting yourself, punishing yourself, shaming, guilting, judging yourself, when you could instead choose to be free? Edward explains, "These words are pretty intense. Imagine living a life putting all this effort to be good and someone tells you, you are crazy and you are good for nothing." Abdullah truly thought it was stupid beyond respect. If you live a life with all these rules, Ab would tell you, you are living in a graveyard. But the most fascinating thing he said here is, after you have proven this law, you will become normal. Normal. This is a feeling. So to Ab, giving yourself what you want in your mind is normal. It is abnormal to not give yourself what you want. Now, I hope you understand by this point why this has been so transformational in the way that I look at life. I have easily and effortlessly let go of habits that truly do not serve me in my life's work, not by the force of willpower, but by allowing myself to do them without guilt and realizing simply to analyze how they make me feel in a quantitative matter. And now the desire is gone. In truth, I had set up these rules, and using these rules, I was able to punish myself, which became a habit, simply playing out the traumas of childhood. I hope you are able now to look at yourself in your own life and notice if you are being good for nothing. The being that you are, I am that I am, is infinite love. You are God, and God is love. You don't need to set up rules to be infinitely loving to yourself. It is given freely as you allow yourself to feel that which you are. Thank you so much for watching, and I love you very much. See you next time. Take care.